And if your subject finished, then I will continue to another flesh in the mother's womb. Actually, we know that in the most of the hospitals there are life support systems, and these support systems actually valued millions of dollars with the latest technology. But when we compare these life support systems with a piece of flesh in the mother's womb, they actually like these devices are primitive and nearly useless. And this piece of flesh, which I'm going to talk about in detail, is the placenta in the mother's womb. Mm-hmm. And actually scientists call this piece of flesh as the hero of the birth. But of course there is a reason for this title. Just because the scientist named, placenta surrounds the embryo in the mother's womb and meets its all needs. We know that at a particular time the embryo begins to take nutrients, oxygen and some other materials from the mother's blood, and the placenta is created to supply all these kinds of needs of the baby, the embryo, and this placenta acts like a bridge, providing the passage of this material between the mother and the fetus. But first, let's begin with how this placenta forms in the mother's womb. When the cells start to divide and also multiply, an amazing thing happens, and some cells start to grow in a different way to others. The old cells gather in the center, and the newer cells actually surround these cells. And these new cells are growing into a different kind of cell. And a short time later, the group of cells in the center will form the embryo, but in other words, the first cells of the baby. And the group of cells around this embryo will will form the placenta, which will nourish the baby during the pregnancy.
Yes, and the interesting thing here is that the placenta and the baby are formed by the same cells, yes, and they have the same information. So how they decide, some of them to become baby and some of them to become placenta?
It is also it is kind of something that the scientists don't know actually, because they cannot understand how cells decide, how they migrate from, yes, one place to another, and how they know where to migrate. This is something, an amazing thing for the scientists, yes, and they cannot discover it yet.
MashaAllah. And also there is a Quran verse about this, MashaAllah. I seek refuge with Allah from accursed Satan. Your Lord creates and chooses whatever He wills, Allah says. The choice is not theirs. So the choice is not the cells, but the Allah's, inshallah.
Yes, MashaAllah.
And this placenta is like a kidney dialysis machine and also heart lung machine and an artificial liver for the embryo. And it carries out all the functions of the baby at the same time. It is a wonderful creation that it enables the mother and also the baby to survive during this pregnancy. And the first duty of the placenta is to nourish the baby, as I said before. The cells first form the placenta, somehow recognize the food particles from the mother's blood and take them to the inside of the placenta, allows them to reach the baby. And another duty of the placenta is to protect the embryo. So the defense cells in the mother's body flow towards the womb to act the baby, because the baby also has the father's cells. So for the mother's system, these father cells are enemies. So these defensive cells are trying to reach the baby to destroy them. But as a miracle from Allah, placenta lets the nourish to reach the baby, but never lets the defensive cells to reach the baby. MashaAllah. And it is like a filter actually for the baby. And also we can think actually if this job was ours, we could never achieve this, because we don't, yes, even understand in the mother's blood which ones are the nourishing elements, but which ones are the defensive cells. But mashallah, as a blessing from Allah, Allah creates this kinds of an organ during the pregnancy.
It is a strong shield.
Yes.
As it is stated in the Quran.
Yes. And the other function of the placenta is to actually to secrete the hormones like estrogen, like progesterone. And for example, let's talk about the progesterone. This hormone has a special effect on the decreasing the contractibility of the uterus in the mother's body, and gives physical support during the pregnancy to the baby. And in order for the baby's development to continue, it forms most comfortable environment as a blessing from Allah. And moreover, it allows the development of the milk glands in the mother's body, and also at the right time helps in the production of milk. So besides this, this hormone gives support by boosting the mother's metabolism and gives her health and comfort. And together with all these functions, placenta ensures that the baby is immune to any infections that may occur during the pregnancy. And as I talked about, every activity of this placenta binds the mother and the embryo to each other in a perfectly harmonious union.
And this union has greatest importance, because if only one of the balances is not working in the mother's body, then the baby cannot survive. It is impossible.
Yes.
Yes. And this organ is formed of cells, and somehow they aware of needs of the needs of a living thing, and it determines what is needed, and this organ can produce the required material in the mother's womb and select it from outside also. So who gave this expert ability to this kinds of flesh? And this conscious activity is not something that it can do it by its own efforts, like some kinds of evolutionists claim.
Yes.
With this excellent system, it is obvious that it is the unique art of the Allah's creation, mashallah.
Yes, mashallah.
And I want to read some Quran verses about this creation. I seek refuge with Allah from accursed Satan. He is Lord of the heavens and the earth, and everything in between them. So worship Him and persevere in His worship. Do you know of any other worthy of His name? Man says, when I am dead, will I then be again raised to life? Does not man recall that we created him before when he was not anything? Surah Maryam, verses 65 to 67.
MashaAllah.
MashaAllah.
This is a great miracle. The baby is a great miracle, and we witness it every day, MashaAllah, because every moment there are, I don't know exactly, but several babies are born,
Yes.
MashaAllah.
Yes.